Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to workshop of the Guideline on Management of Government Information in Combating Fake News and Disinformation in the Media. Also, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jakarta, Indonesia. And also, good morning and welcome once again to Mr. Usman Kansong, Director General of Public Information and Communication of the Minister of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia, Mrs. Juliana Bahar, Director of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ihwan Mahmur Nasution, Head of the Center of International Affairs of the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia, Mrs. Rosharita Niken Widyastuti, Advisor of the Minister of Communication and Informatics of Indonesia, Mr. Nursodik Gunarjo, Director of Media Management of the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia, Mrs. Haryati, Secretary of the Agency of Research and Human Resource Developments of the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia, Mr. Irwan Syah, Researcher of Universitas Indonesia, and of course, ASEAN member states, either joining here on Hotel Borobudur or joining online. And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin with the workshop, please rise for the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, and also continued by ASEAN anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And next up, we will have an art performance. Please enjoy and give a warm applause of a medley of Indonesian traditional dances. Applause once again. That was the art performance, which is Jaipong dance from our home here, Jakarta, Indonesia. And next, we will have the welcoming speech by the head of the Center of International Affairs of the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia. Mr. Ihwan Mahmur Nasution, the time is yours.
Pak Usman Kansong, Director General of Public Communication and Informations, Ibu Rosarita Niken Widyasuti, Special Advisor to the Minister of Communication and Informatics, Bapak Nursodi Gunarjo, Director of Media Management of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Ibu Haryati, Secretary of Agency of Research and HR Development of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Ibu Juliana Bahar, Director of ASEAN Cooperation on Social and Cultural of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Representative of Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, honorable guests and invitees, distinguished delegates from the ASEAN member states, ASEAN Secretariat, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic Indonesia, I am honored to welcome you all to the ASEAN workshop on Guideline on Management of Government Information in Combating Fake News and Disinformation in the Media in Jakarta. I also wish to extend my thanks and appreciations to all delegates from ASEAN member states, honorable guests and invitees, as well as speakers, researchers, and committee to join us in person, also in virtually at today's workshop. In this opportunity, I would like to take into account that this event is marking one of Indonesia's priority deliverables in the information sector during ASEAN Chairmanship 2023. Your utmost support, cooperations, and collaborations to carry on this workshop to build a guideline are considered the most important. We are gathered here as the representative from the ASEAN sectoral body responsible for the informations to ensure the completions of a ground rule to benefit the ASEAN member states in realizing credible and adaptive management of government informations, especially dealing with the fake news and disinformation in the media. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, fake news and disinformations have become a major issue not only in ASEAN countries, but also as a world global issue. We are aware, as the internet speed and the penetration of information technology hold positive benefits, this may become counterproductive when they are being misused as a tool to spread a hoax, disinformation, and fake news. I believe government information should be managed properly and accordingly to serve as one of the solutions to counter and deal with disinformation and the fake news circulating within the ASEAN community. It becomes the most crucial issue since information on government programs and policies is frequently targeted or twisted. Starting from this issue, Indonesia is humbly leading this project to develop a guideline on the management of government information in combating fake news and disinformation in the media. Today's workshop will be the part of the guideline implementation to encourage knowledge and experience sharing between all ASEAN member states. I hope we could harness the strategies for dealing with the fake news and disinformation, as well as management of government data and management of public opinion, together with presenting the information and disseminations to the public. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, through various strategies, the ASEAN member states have agreed to continue to educate the public about digital literacy. A series of initiatives under the ASEAN Senior Official Meeting responsible for information and the ASEAN Minister responsible for information has been successfully implemented. Lastly, I hope the discussion that we will have today becomes fruitful and produce meaningful outcomes to strengthen ASEAN effort in combating fake news and disinformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikhwan, for the welcoming speech. And next, we will have a remark by Director of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Juliana Bahar. The time is yours.
Thank you so much. Honorable Bapak Usman Kamsong, who's still on the way, Director General of Information and Public Communication of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of Indonesia, yang terhormat Bapak Ikhwan Makmur Nasution, Head of International Cooperation Center, Ministry of Communication and Informatics of Indonesia, and yang terhormat jajaran pejabat tinggi Kementerian Kominfo Indonesia, di antaranya Ibu Niken dan Pak Gunarjo, and distinguished guests, participants of the workshop, and of course, warm regards to Pak Jonathan Tan, and his team. Pak Jonathan is the Head of Culture and Information Division of ASEAN Secretariat. And I understand that some of you, delegates coming from your respective countries, just arrived or landed in Jakarta in the wee hour today. And I hope that you will have enough time to recharge and will not affect your enthusiasm and contribution to the workshop today. But I really wish that you will have enough time to have a good rest and maybe have some more time to enjoy Jakarta, hopefully somehow. And of course, welcome to the rainy Jakarta. But I think some of us in the region believe that rain brings blessing. So I hope it will become a good sign for our work today. It will be blessed and we will contribute meaningfully to the common effort and especially giving benefit to the people of ASEAN, especially in terms of bringing accountable news, factual news to the people every day. I would like to, of course, join the Pak Ikhwan warm welcome to Jakarta, and it really gives me warmth in the heart knowing that some of the participants are able to be here present in Jakarta. But of course, I would also like to send a very warm regards to those participants who are not able to be here in Jakarta. And I believe that even by joining virtually to this workshop, you will be contributing meaningfully to the process and also the outcome. Distinguished guests and participants, during these past few years, we have been facing daunting, challenging situations, not only because of the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, but also geopolitical rivalries, natural disasters, as well as financial, energy, and food crisis globally, and of course, they affect our region severely. Although currently COVID-19 situation is getting better, but some other challenges remain. Depicting the theme ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth, Indonesia's ASEAN chairmanship is aimed to strengthen the basic foundation of ASEAN in responding to regional and global challenges shared with a spirit of cooperation and optimism. If I may further elaborate on the theme of Indonesia's chairmanship in ASEAN this year, the first pillar, ASEAN Matters, signifies that together we will ensure that ASEAN remain relevant, pertinent, important, and valuable to the people in the region, as well as for the people outside of our region. ASEAN must be forward-looking with a strong capacity to anticipate and address future challenges. The second pillar of our chairmanship, epicentrum of growth. We focus in advancing ASEAN towards a region of inclusive, robust, and sustainable economic growth. And under the third pillar, the implementation of ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, Indonesia will continue to mainstream the 4 priority areas in the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, including to identify list of concrete projects and cooperation to support the implementation of AOIP, which will involve all of ASEAN partners and strengthen ASEAN relation with the Pacific countries. Distinguished guests and participants, we all agree that fake news and disinformation in the media have become one of our significant challenges, as already pointed out by Pak Ikhwan. And fake news and disinformation, with their potential in causing harm to individuals, organizations, and even nations, they are spread intentionally to deceive the public. ASEAN has not been immune to this problem. With the proliferation of social media and the ease of access to the internet, the spread of fake news and disinformation has become a major concern. Disinformation about COVID-19 pandemic, political issues, and religious tensions have significantly affected the region. Disinformation can also lead to the loss of trust in institutions such as governments and media outlets. This may also affect and hinder the process of ASEAN towards a prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable community. Distinguished guests and participants, it is imperative that we take concrete steps to combat fake news and disinformation in the media. Government plays important role in curbing the spread of fake news and disinformation. Furthermore, government should take measures in the aspect of prevention, careful and precise response, data management, as well as the regulation implementation. However, it is important that such legislation does not impede on the freedom of speech and expression. We learned that each ASEAN member state has different way and experiences in combating and managing fake news and disinformation. The disparity covers the aspect of regulation implementation, where some of them have their own anti-fake news and disinformation regulations independently, but some of us are still in the drafting, legalizing, or finalizing process. Disparity also covers in other aspects, such as in the business model management and the use of technology in identifying fake news. So therefore, the existing of a guideline is essential for us in the region in our joint efforts to combat fake news in the region, while correspondingly acts as a practical recommendation for each government, which will be useful in addressing the disparity in capacity. Hence, I would like to invite, as well as highly appreciate, the efforts and support of the member states of ASEAN for their contribution in the development of this guideline, the guideline to combat fake news and disinformation, and also to support the government efforts in information management, and of course to support the effort, as I said before, to combat fake news and disinformation in the media, which will be discussed further today. Your contribution, your input, throughout the process may enrich the recommendation for decision-making framework and business model for all ASEAN member states in handling fake news and disinformation. I will only have about 20 more pages in my remarks, so I hope you can bear with me still. Just kidding, sorry. So I would like to convey my highest appreciation to the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia for conducting this very important workshop to discuss our efforts in combating fake news and disinformation in the media and draft the regional guideline in this regard. Distinguished participants, allow me to conclude by wishing you all good health, have a fruitful discussion, and hope you enjoy your visit in Jakarta. Thank you, and stay warm and dry.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Juliana Bahar. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to apologize because we were still waiting for Mr. Usman Kansong, our Director General. Just as mentioned by Mrs. Juliana that it's raining outside, so the traffic might be delayed him to go in here. So we will have a 15-minute coffee break, and you will have the coffee break just next room to us. And then after 15 minutes, we will be back here and begin with Mr. Usman Kansong welcoming speech. Thank you.
langsung jatuh cinta, walau ku tahu kau ada pemiliknya. Tapi ku tak dapat membohongi hati nurani, ku tak dapat menghindari gejolak cinta ini. Maka izin biarkan la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, kita berdoa dulu. coba mendekatinya, ku tatap dirinya. Oh dia sungguh mempesona, ingin aku menyapanya, menyapa dirinya, bercanda tawa dengan dirinya. Namun apa yang ku rasa, aku tak kuasa, aku tak tahu harus berkata apa. Ini kan namanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, cinta pada jumpa pertama. Ini kan rasanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, terasa bahagia saat jumpa dengan dirinya. Ku jumpa dia berikutnya, suasana berbeda, getaran itu masih ada. Aku dekati dirinya, ku tatap wajahnya, oh dia tetap mempesona. Ingin aku menyapanya, menyapa dirinya, bercanda tawa dengan dirinya. Namun apa yang ku rasa, aku tak kuasa, aku tak tahu harus berkata apa. Ini kan namanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, cinta pada jumpa pertama. Ini kan rasanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, terasa bahagia saat jumpa dengan dirinya. Rindu terasa dikala diri ini ingin jumpa, ingin selalu bersama, bersama dalam segala suasana. Ini kan namanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, cinta pada jumpa pertama. Ini kan rasanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, terasa bahagia saat jumpa. Ini kan namanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, cinta pada jumpa pertama. Ini kan rasanya cinta, oh ini kan cinta, terasa bahagia saat jumpa dengan dirinya. Dengan dirinya. Dengan dirinya. Bila cinta menggugah rasa, begitu indah mengukir hatiku, menyatu jiwaku, hapuskan semua gelisah. Duhai cintaku, duhai pujaanku, datang padaku, dekat di sampingku. Ku ingin hidupku selalu dalam peluknya. Terus saja aku menantinya, tenang saja aku mendambanya, tenang saja
Ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN member states, dear guests, we will begin very shortly for the opening speech by Mr. Usman Kansong. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, dear ASEAN member states, we will begin very shortly for the next opening speech. Thank you. And dear guests, you can bring your coffee or your tea and the snacks to the tables. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can bring your refreshments, the coffee, the tea, or the snacks to your table. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will now begin for the next session. Now we will have the opening and inaugural speech by the Directorate General of Public Information and Communications of the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of Indonesia. Mr. Usman Kansong, the time is yours.
Thank you. Distinguished delegates of the ASEAN member states, representatives of Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, ASEAN Secretariat, official and staff of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, I am delighted to host you in Jakarta to convene the ASEAN workshop on Guideline on Management of Government Information in Combating Fake News and Disinformation in the Media. I hope everyone is in good health and in high spirits to produce a constructive discussion in this workshop today. I also wish to take this opportunity to share with you the themes and priorities of Indonesia's ASEAN chairmanship this year. Indonesia's chairmanship in ASEAN this year will be carried out in the midst of the world facing multi-dimensional challenges including geopolitical tensions, the residual impact of pandemics and natural disasters, as well as food and energy crisis. As you may already learn, our theme for this year's ASEAN chairmanship in ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. As the theme implies, ASEAN Matters means that Indonesia will ensure that ASEAN stays relevant, important and significant in responding to geopolitical dynamics by strengthening ASEAN unity and centrality. Epicentrum of growth means that Indonesia will push for ASEAN collaboration to establish ASEAN as a fast-growing, inclusive and sustainable center of regional and global economic growth through strengthening the region's resiliency. particularly on food, energy, health, financial, and infrastructure. Under Indonesia's chairmanship in ASEAN 2023, there is a guideline on the management of government information in combating fake news and disinformation in the media as a priority deliverable arranged on the socio-cultural communities pillar that are expected to be adopted at the ASEAN Minister responsible for information in June 2023 and become an output document of the second ASEAN Summit in September 2023. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, public communication is indeed a concern of the government. We could learn from the COVID-19 pandemic experience. The virus not only infected the human body but also hit the joints of life in all sectors, starting from politics and society, especially the national economy. Countless misleading and false issues, starting from the issue of vaccines, virus variants, and the realm of religion, spread from unresponsible parties for disturbing and stability and unity of the nation. Several years earlier, Indonesia was also tested by social polarization and disharmony that had formed and threatened national unity due to politics. It occurred during the 2014 general elections and then repeated in 2019. At this juncture, the urgency to build communication orchestration becomes the most important step, with appropriate, accurate, and timely-based narrations and distinct and diction choices has remarkably reached the public on time and according to their segmentation. In increasing effectiveness to reduce potential public discord due to the widespread of fake news and disinformation, proper and measurable management of public narratives also needs to be carried out through various communication channels. The government of Indonesia also establishes cooperation with various parties, especially the mass media. In conjunction with handling fake news and disinformation, the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia would like to share experience with ASEAN member states on the steps that can be taken to create an effective response message, as well as on how to recognize and detect fake news websites and identify disinformation. I wish that today's workshop could improve ASEAN countries' ability to create information with strong, reliable, and credible narratives messages. Likewise, in building trust and transparency between governments and their citizens in fighting fake news and disinformation in the media. By working together and taking proactive steps to combat fake news and disinformation, I am confident that ASEAN members country can create a wise society in receiving or sharing information back, since the information they consume is accurate, honest, and reliable. I look forward to today's discussion will impact creating a better region while continuing to strengthen countries' capacities and capabilities in detecting and responding to fake news and disinformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Usman Kansong. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the photo session. Teman-teman panitia mohon dibantu untuk memasukkan kursi dan juga membantu posisi dan juga blocking untuk photo session. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you can take a seat up front. Mr. Usman Kansong, Mrs. Juliana, Mrs. Niken, Ibu Haryati silakan di depan, Ibu. Dan Bapak Nur Sodik dan juga Bapak Kepala Pusat. Teman-teman fotografer dan juga videografer harap bersiap di tempat di belakang TV. Di depan TV yang ada di bagian paling ujung. Teman-teman panitia mohon bantuannya untuk membawa kembali kursi dari panggung ke belakang ruangan. Terima kasih.